with South Carolina Festival of Discovery. This is our 11th year. We have 78 barbecue teams this year joining us. When I took over 7 years ago, we had 43. We're glad to have all of the people coming in visiting Greenwood. This event is a free event, a way to give back to our community and to bring people not only into Greenwood but into South Carolina so they can discover all the wonderful things that we have. All the monies that come into the festival are put back into the event, be it another blues venue, another arts and crafts venue.
Welcome to Greenwood, South Carolina, home of the South Carolina Festival of Discovery. Not only do we offer great barbecue and blues during the weekend of July, the second weekend of July, we also offer a number of different attractions and things to do throughout the year. Greenwood has a new arts and cultural district named the Emerald Triangle, which houses our new Arts and Visitor Center, as well as the museum and the community theater. And there's always lots of exhibits and performances going on for people to enjoy. In addition, Greenwood is home to Lake Greenwood, plenty of outdoor recreation for everyone to enjoy. And we also have Park Seed Gardens, which is home to the South Carolina Festival of Flowers each June. Park Seed is the largest catalog seed company in North America, and we are proud to have them as the title sponsor for the Festival of Flowers. Our newest attraction is the Benjamin Mays Historic Site. Dr. Mays is originally from Greenwood and grew up in Epworth, which is a community in Greenwood, and he's also a known community activist and was past president of Morehouse College for a number of years. He served as a mentor to Martin Luther King Jr., and Greenwood is proud to have his legacy continue with this historic site.
This is Charlie Barano with the City of Greenwood. We are the 11th annual South Carolina Festival of Discovery in beautiful uptown Greenwood, South Carolina. This is a Kansas City Barbecue Society sanctioned event. Again, this is our 11th annual event. Last night we had the Anything Goes competition and the Reese's American Classic potato salad competition. Today we'll have turn-ins of chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket, and of course South Carolina hash. I'm getting ready to do something very fun. I'm going to be the MC of our annual hot dog eating competition. We expect somebody to break our record today of 25 hot dogs. That's wiener and bun in a matter of 10 minutes. So get your stomachs ready for some great time here in beautiful Greenwood, South Carolina. Our event is always the second weekend in July. And we'd like for you to visit us at festivaldiscovery.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/festivaldiscovery.
Record's 25 right now. Right now we've got one with 3. 3 is the winner right now. 3's leading. 3's in the lead. Carlos representing Northland Cable here. Cheer him on. Y'all are not making enough noise. Get these boys and girls excited. Eat, 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 eat. 2 minutes in, we got 8 more minutes. 8 more minutes. Come on, y'all are quiet. Y'all are not making enough noise. Eat. Dale Boone looks like he's got down one plate. One plate. He's into his second plate. Carlos with Northland Cable, he's almost got one plate. He's with the big dogs. The local man. Come on, this is a free lunch, y'all eat. We're almost 3 minutes in. 3 minutes in. We want to see 26. We need a new record. 3 minutes in, 7 more minutes. Come on, guys.
Entry number 1 was very flavorful and had good spices and was very tender and juicy. My second one had like an apple taste to the sauce, but it was flavorful also. The third one was just a little bit cooler and a little bit more chewy, but still, you know, was moist. The next one here was also tender. I'm not sure about the flavor, but it was also very good. And this last one was much, much spicier than all the other ones, but all in all, the chicken was wonderful.
Each of these was consistently some of the best chicken I've sampled, and is one group since I've been judging, and that's been several years. But I would say the first one was really literally had it all. It was great texture, great tenderness, and I thought the appearance was as it was with all of them, very excellent. The second one was a little bit overpowering on the chicken or the sauce. I couldn't quite get to the chicken flavor as well as I'd like, but it still was, as I say, outstanding. Third was good, but a little bit less tender, I think, than the first two entries. Number 4 was a fine piece of chicken, but not up to number 1's standards. And number 5 was 5 where other was very good, but the sauce was too spicy. You couldn't taste the chicken as well. So that's it for me.
Number 1 was a good flavor. Had good little heat, some extra spicing on it, very, very juicy. Number 2 had I think it was more of a, I'm like you, something of a applesauce or a apple juice flavor with a mist over the top. Very juicy though on it. Number 3 to me had a little bit of a strong taste of vinegar. I don't know if they were using that in the sauce or in a basting sauce on top. Number 4 had a very sweet taste, but had a good balance of heat on top, meshed really well together. Number 5 had a very good, it was very juicy, had a very gritty type crust over the top, almost like a blackening spice on it, but gave it a good overall flavor, just a little different texture-wise on taking the sample.
First of all 5 boxes were very above average, good looking, placed nicely, delicious to look at. Chicken number 1 had a very sweet aftertaste, which I personally care for. The spices were great, but not overpowering, very tender, very juicy. Nice and easy to eat into. Number 2 had a little more of like a thicker sweet sauce, maybe more honey. Third one for me on the side was a little bit dry. I didn't really care for the vinegary aftertaste. Number 4 for me had wasn't as tender as the other choices, and the 5th one had an too much of a spicy aftertaste that I kept tasting for a while.
All right, on the appearance, I thought all of them had great appearance, but on number 1, I thought the taste was off just a little bit. Number 2, I thought it was a little bit tough. 3 was salty. 4. I thought it was very sweet, and it wasn't done quite as well as the others. And the last one, I don't think they removed the membrane, but it was real tough and appeared to be undercooked.
Alrighty, on number 1, I thought it was beautifully presented. It was sliced real nice. The rest of them had great appearance as well. As far as taste, number 1 is very, very tender, had a nice finishing flavor to it. Number 2 was just a little bit tough, but it did have a good flavor. Number 3, I thought was a little salty, and I tasted a lot of charcoal in it. And number 4 to me was a little bit sweet, and it's a little bit tough. And number 5, way too sooty, little tough to chew.
I thought number 1 and 2 were pretty much the same, very good texture. Number 1 was just a little bit better in taste. Number 3 was a little tough and not very much taste. And number 4, basically the same as number 3, just a little tough had pretty good flavor. And number 5 was kind of a burnt, bitter aftertaste, and not very good at all.
They all, the appearance of all the samples were very good, I thought. The first sample, number 1, was the texture was fine. The taste was a little off. The second one I felt was cooked exactly the way it should be cooked. Taste was not 100%, but it was very good. The third sample was a little tough. It had a pretty nice smoky taste. The fourth sample was very good. It had a little too much sauce for my taste, but it was a very, very well cooked and a very good taste. The last sample, the membrane had been left on, had a lot of smoke. The sample came in cold. I don't have a lot good to say about it.
I found samples 1 and 2 to be quite similar, and both were pretty good. The taste was very nice on each, maybe a little bit too sugary on each. There was definitely a sugary texture and sugary taste that had it a little bit out of balance. Tenderness-wise, I thought number 1 and number 2 were both nearly where they want to be. Number 1 might have been just a little bit over, and number 2 might have been just a little bit underdone, but they are both very good taste and tenderness. Number 3 was a little bit undercooked and a little bit heavier on the smokiness and the flavor, which made it seem out of balance. Number 4 was my favorite sample. I thought it was very well cooked, perfectly cooked, and had a very nice balance in the flavor. Although the sauce was a little bit heavy, it was very well balanced between sweet, tangy, and smoky. I enjoyed that rib a lot. Number 5, I'm reminded when my mama said what I should do when I don't have anything good to say, so I'm going to pass it on.
Okay, on the first one, I thought it showed up with a nice glaze on it, a little bit on the fruity side, but I thought it was cooked very good. The second one, to me, was cooked almost a little bit overcooked, but it did have a nice flavor to it. On the third rib, it just needed a little bit more time on the smoker, but it did have a decent smoky taste to it. And on the fourth one, I thought they hit a home run here. It had a nice glaze to it. It was cooked perfect. It had just great seasoning to it. I really enjoyed the fourth rib. And on the fifth rib, the membrane was left on, way undercooked, and not even in the same league as the other ones.
Backyard Division is where it is.
And what's the name of the team?
Craven Q. We're out of Belmont, North Carolina.
How many contests do you cook?
This is our first contest of the year. We're just getting started, so a new team, and this is our family team, brother, my daughter, my wife, my dad, and we just love to spend time with the family, and Froggy, he's the new addition to the family here. And but it's just awesome. We just love barbecue. We just love to eat it, talk about it, sleep it, drink it. We're just crazy about barbecue. Can't you tell? Do you want to try something?
All this for me will go in the shredded because that's nice rich red.
Could I have some?
The first sample was good, however it had a slightly salty taste and the texture was not as good. The second one I thought was a little mushy. The third I thought was excellent. And the fourth one was the texture was not as good, and it was just not as tasty. It was a rather bland one. And the last one was not a good texture, and it would have been much better had it been warm. Thank you.
Number 1, I liked. It had a low country pepper kind of sauce, which I like a whole bunch. I thought it was tender. I also agreed. I thought the second one was overcooked. Just an okay flavor. I liked the third one. I thought the flavor was good. It was just a little bit dry. I did not like the fourth one at all. It was mushy, way too much smoke. And the fifth one, I liked a whole bunch. Had a wonderful spiciness to it, a little kick, and I thought the texture was great.
On number one, it had good flavor. It could have been cooked a little longer. The second one had no flavor and it was overcooked. The third one was a good piece of meat. Could do a little better on the flavor. It was good and tender to me. Number four, it was tender, but they missed. There was no flavor at all in that one. And number five, it tasted like it had candy on it. It was a little too sweet, but it was a good piece of meat, though.
Number one was a little bit mushy, but I thought the flavor was not bad. I would not rate it as high, give it as high a score as possible, but I thought it was in the neighborhood. Number two, the seasoning had too much celery in it. I don't know whether they used celery seed or celery salt, but it was much too pronounced, and the meat was not cooked quite to perfection. Number three had decent flavor, but was kind of tough. Number four had no flavor at all, and I really enjoyed number five. There may have been just a touch too much sauce, but I like a sweet barbecue, and it did have a little heat.
Where are you from? We live in Atlanta. And they're trying to make contests in route and then it's started.
Good luck. Looks great.
Thank you very much. We need all the help we can get. Especially on brisket.
I told you we gotta. I almost sliced the point one time and put it in there. Just
because the brisket was so bad.
I've seen that too.
On number one, I felt as though it was good flavor, but it was cold. Number two didn't really have a lot of flavor, but it was tender. Three was pretty good, but it didn't have a lot of flavor. Four I felt was overdone.
I thought number one was the best of the group. It had good flavor, good bark, but a bit tough. Number two, much more tender, but no flavor. Number three, much the same as that. Number four, I liked good bark, but the sauce didn't seem to fit the meat.
Okay, number one I thought was a little tough. Had a good bark to it. Number two I thought was the best one. Just seemed like it was a little better to me. Number three seemed like it had so much smoke taste to it. And number four seemed a little tough to me.
Number one had a good flavor, but it was chewy. Number two was a little dry, very little flavor. Number three had a good flavor to it. And number four was overcooked. It was really too tender.
I felt like number one was probably the best overall taste and tenderness. Number two, not much taste. It was a little bit dry. Number three had a good smoke flavor to it. Number four had some sweet, and then all of a sudden the heat kicked in and it was overcooked.
Number one had good flavor, but it was not as tender as some of the others. Number two, to me, didn't have enough flavor, but it was very tender. Number three was reasonably good in taste and tenderness, but appearance was a little bit lacking. Number four, to me, had a good flavor. It was a little hot. It was very tender. It was overcooked, but I liked it anyway.
Hi, guys. You take hash. Hash was started years and years ago. It started cooking whole hog. The whole hog, after you get all the best part of the meat out of it, you take what was left, the innards, the ears, anything that could be chopped up, and they would grind it up. And from that, they would add their onions and a little bit of corn in it, and a little mustard. Most South Carolina hash has mustard in it where I'm from. Put a little mustard in there and some other salt and peppers, and a little hot seasoning of their preference choice. But it would take about 4 or 5 hours to cook this because after it was ground, they just kept on cooking. and they would cook it until it just got to mush-like, which is what hash in the old days was a mush. And they would take that mush and put it over top of rice. And people started calling it hash, and that's what it was, what it is.
I thought it had a good mustard base to it. It's more of what I remember when I was young. 2 had a unique flavor. It was different. 3, 4, and 6 were all very good, but just didn't have the mustard base that I thought it needed. And number 5 is something else. It's different than what I consider hash to be. Okay. I got your place.
Number 1 has a very good mustard taste. It was just didn't care for a little watery taste too. I would prefer number 2. I like that texture in that, and I like the flavor of that a little more. I like that spiciness. Number 3, I didn't care for. It was a little bland, no real taste to it at all. Number 4 had a nice little mustard taste, just not quite enough. A little greasy though. Number 5 was just pure vinegar. I don't like that flavor at all. Number 6, it was okie dokie. It run a second place in mine.
Number 1 had very good flavor. It was too thick for me. Number 2, a little good flavor. Number 3, I didn't like at all. Too much oniony. Number 4 is too mushy for me. A little bit, need a little more flavor. This number 5 was a little too saucy. And number 6 was fairly good texture and good taste.
All right, number 1 I thought was too thick, and I thought it had too much of a barbecue flavor to it instead of a mustard hash flavor that I'm accustomed to. Number 2 I thought was a little bland and needed more spices. Number 3 I thought was okay, except for it tasted like it had a lot of chicken broth in it, which is not something I would put in my hash, at least not that much of it. I like number 4. It could have used a little more spice in it, a little more mustard base. Number 5 here was good taste to it, but it's not what I would consider a true hash, not in the South Carolina area. And I like the number 6 here the best, I believe, even though it needed a little bit more spice in it.
Well, not having anything to base my taste on, number 1 was tasteful. I did taste the mustard in that. Number 2 had larger chunks that you could identify, sausage and stuff like that they'd added to it, which was good flavor. Number 3 was kind of mushy tasting. And number 4 had enough broth to it that you could get a hash taste out of it. I like this one here, but apparently it's not the customary hash taste that everybody else has. And number 6 was also very good.
I like them all. You just don't make bad hash.
Okay, that works for me.